जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवराधारी। गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवराधारी। यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजना। यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजना। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजना। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radhe. Jai Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai. Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladev, Jaya Subhadra. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Vishnupada Brahmamsa Parivrajaka Chauri Stotra Sata Sri Srimadi's Divine Grace Lavai Charana Ravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Vishnupada Brahmamsa Parivrajaka Chauri Stotra Sata Sri Srimadi's Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की नवद्वीप शिमाय प्रधाम की पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगा माँ यमुना माई की वृंद देवी तुलसी महारानी की श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जाए Srila Prabhupada Transcendental Book Distribution की जाए The Most Merciful Lordship Shri Shri Gaunita Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की सामवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Shaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtapraye Shvabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 28, entitled Puranjana Becomes a Woman in the Next Life. Text number 7. Vishirnam Swapurim Vikshya Vishirnam Swapurim Vikshya Pratikulan Anadritan Putran Pautranugamatya Jayam cha gata sauhrudam Vishinam swapurim vikshya Pratikulan anadritan Putran pautranugamatya Jayam cha gata sauhrudam Vishirnam swapurim vikshya Pratikulan anadrita Putran pautranugamatya Jayam cha gata sauhrudam. विषीणां च स्ववीक्षा प्रतिकूलान् अनादृतान् पुत्रान् पौत्रान् गामात्यान् जायं च गतसौहृदाम् विषीणां स्वपुरीं वीक्षा प्रतिकूलान् अनादृतान् पुत्रान् पौत्रान् गामात्यान् जायं च गतसौहृदाम् विषीणां स्वपुरीं वीक्षा प्रतिकूलान् अनादृतान् पुत्रान् पौत्रान् गामात्यान् जायं च गतसौहृदाम्. Any Matajis? विषीणां स्वपुरीं वीक्षा प्रतिकूलान् अनादृतान् पुत्रान् पौत्रान् गामात्यान् जायं च गतसौहृदाम् विषीणां स्वपुरीं वीक्षा प्रतिकूलान् अनादृतान् पुत्रान् पौत्रान् गामात्यान् जायं च गतसौहृदाम्. विशीर्णां scattered, swapurim his own town, viksha seeing, pratikulan opposing elements, anadritan being disrespectful, putran sons, pautra grandsons, anuga servants, amatyan ministers, jayam wife, cha and gata sauhrudam indifferent. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. King Puranjana then saw that everything in his town was scattered and that his sons, grandsons, servants and ministers were all gradually opposing him. He also noted that his wife was becoming cold and indifferent. Please repeat. King Puranjana then saw that everything in his town was scattered and that his sons, grandsons, servants and ministers were all gradually opposing him. He also noted that his wife was becoming cold and indifferent. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Shri Shri Gaunitai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Shri Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maharani ki jai. When one becomes an invalid, his senses and organs are weakened. In other words, they are no longer under one's control. The senses and sense objects then begin to oppose him. When a person is in a distressed condition, even his family members, his sons, grandsons, and wife become disrespectful. They no longer are under the command of the master of the house. Just as we wish to use our senses for sense gratification, the senses also require strength from the body in reciprocation. A man keeps a family for enjoyment, and similarly, family members demand enjoyment from the head of the family. When they do not receive sufficient money from him, they grow disinterested and ignore his commands or desires. This is all due to one's being a kripana, miser. This word kripana, used in this sixth verse, is in opposition to the word brahmana. In the human form of life, one should become a brahmana, which means that one should understand the constitutional position of the absolute truth, Brahmana, Brahman, and then engage in his service as a Vaishnava. We get this facility in the human form of life, but if we do not properly utilize this opportunity, we become a kripana, miser. Miser is one who gets money but does not spend it properly. This human form of life is especially meant for understanding Brahman, for becoming a Brahmana, and if we do not utilize properly, we remain a Kripana. We can actually see that when one has money but does not spend it, he remains a miser and is never happy. Similarly, when one's intelligence is spoiled due to sense gratification, he remains a miser throughout his life. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. मुकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणाम्. So, through this allegorical presentation of how Puranjana, when he became old, his kingdom is conquered by the enemy armies. So, it happens in a real sense also that if some king becomes invalid or not very powerful, the others may try to attack that king. But in this presentation, it is talking about one's own body. Who is the king, Puranjana? It's all of us. So, in this body, when we become old and when the senses do not function properly, then how things will happen around us is explained here. Old age is something which uh, which young people may not be able to understand what it is. As long as your senses are functioning nicely, you don't think old age is some utopian idea, some idea. I will never get old is what everybody thinks till he gets old. Every day, every one of us are getting older and older. Hmm? We celebrate birthdays. Happy birthday, we say to others. But actually, we are going closer to death every year after year. In old days, what happens is that the potency of each of our bodily limbs will become reduced and reduced and reduced and reduced. It all starts with the holes. There are 9 holes in the body, and you will find that they're not functioning properly. Like as you become older, you get one of this. When I had these glasses, one of very senior devotee told me, you know what he told me? Welcome to the old men's club, he said. I didn't understand because I got this much, earlier, about 12 years ago or something. And I was thinking, I am quite young, why is he thinking, welcome to the old men's club? But it is actually true. If any of your holes are not functioning properly, that means you're becoming older and then closer to death. The ears are not functioning, or the nose or mouth, your digestive system is weak, or your evacuation system is weak, you have a constipation. All these things indicate not only there is a disease in the body, but we are actually closer to death. If this is happening consistently, if one is diseased, then they may go to a doctor and rectify the situation. But if it is happening consistently, that means there is danger. So here Puranjana, he became very old, and all his bodily limbs are not functioning properly. So what happened because of that? Now by this time he has many sons, grandsons, everyone is there. Generally we think that, we have a bigger family, we have a lot of power. That is what we think. But what is the use of a big family if they are not following your command? Whether you have a big family, a small family, the head of the family must command respect from the family members. And if you cannot command respect, that means, you are a useless person in that family. And generally, we know old people are not much respected. They are given one corner in the house. Like if somebody is in the jail, they are given food, and when they eat the food, that is taken away. So, like that, they are most unproductive persons. Old people we consider as most unproductive persons. But why does that happen? That happens because that person has led a life of sense gratification. He was quite selfish, and he did not command respect because he did not follow certain ideals. He did not follow certain principles of scripture which he could confidently share with his sons and grandsons and followers, or whatever it is. If you see Prabhupada was almost leaving the body, uh, but when he was speaking, all his disciples were around him. They were very eager to hear from Prabhupada. And they wanted to understand, maybe these are last few words of the great Acharya, who is going to leave, but who is going to give some important instructions to humanity. And Prabhupada, if you see the video last few days of Prabhupada was saying, Karanam gunasangosya sadasad janmasu. Based on which guna that you associate, you will be born in that species. Always be in Satoguna, attend morning program, chant 16 rounds, follow 4 regulative principles. This is what Srila Prabhupada was speaking almost towards the end of his life. That means this is the essence on which everything else can be built. The whole devotional service, if you call it as a fort, such a big fort can be built on these fundamental um, principles that we follow. That is being in Sattoguna. And how Sattoguna comes? Sattoguna comes by regularly doing whatever is prescribed to us, rising early in the morning, chanting the 16 rounds of japa that Srila Prabhupada has given. The point is that uh, even at that age, Prabhupada wanted to give such important principles to his followers, not some esoteric Radha Krishna Leela he was not speaking. He was speaking something very practical. That is why they had such great respect for Prabhupada. There are many people who speak well, who speak some esoteric stories, but there are very few people who actually do practical service for us. And to do practical service, they should have gone through that situation, they must have mastered it, and they can only speak so confidently in such a manner that our hearts will be attracted to such speech. And immediately a desire will come where you wanted to follow that in your life. The people who touch our heart in a practical manner are very few. In an esoteric manner, many people can speak. In an attractive Janaranjan program is very well known to us. There are a lot of comedians out there. Nowadays, people are now stopped going to theaters. They're going to comedy theaters. Comedy theater means there is a big, huge theater where comedians will come and speak in such a way that every moment they'll laugh, 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 laugh so much. And they are becoming more and more famous. But we need people who can give their very good advice. The whole life they have led with principles, and now they wanted to share that in the old days. If such people, even if they're bedridden, they are respected because they have something very practical, valuable to share to the next generation. So here we see that Puranjana did not lead such life. He only led a life of sense gratification. He just, whatever that he got, he enjoyed and enjoyed and enjoyed and enjoyed. And because of constant engagement of the senses in sense enjoyment, the senses have become very, very, very weak. And then now they have become, practically they have dead, invalid. He has become invalid now. So, so such a person he is said to be Kripana. Kripana means miser. So why miser? What is the significance of the word miser? In general sense, the miser means a person who has a lot of money and he doesn't spend it either for himself or for his family members. Such a person is called miser. But it appears that Puranjana has used all his money for himself and for his family members. Why is he called Kripana then? He has extensively engaged in sense gratification. Why is he called Kripana? Here the Kripana, word Kripana is to be understood in a different way. What is that? You are given certain opulence and you are using that opulence. You are not using that opulence for the purpose for which it is given. Then you are considered as a Kripana. So what is the opulence that all of us have? All of us have the opulence of human form of life. This is the greatest opulence. Whether you understand the value of it or not, it is the greatest opulence. Once you move away from that opulence, no matter what you do, you will not get that opulence. So what is that opulence? To become a Brahmana. This human form of life has been given to us to become a Brahmana. Who is a Brahmana? Prabhupada is saying, one who knows the constitutional position of the absolute truth is called a Brahmana. So this may sound a little philosophical. We'll try to understand in a simple manner. Srila Prabhupada many times said that human life is meant for self-realization. That everybody must have heard or read from Prabhupada books. But self-realization is not possible without God realization. So if you become God realized, you become self-realized automatically. So human life is meant for God realization. And if that human life is not spent for God realization, if it is spent for sense gratification, a chance is misused. A great opportunity that is given to us is misused. That means a great opulence that is given to us is not used properly. Now you spoiled. You spoiled all that opulence now. Now that opulence is neither useful to you, nor you have made that opulence useful to anybody else. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said Bharat bhumile manusya janma hoile yaar, janma sardaka kori karu paropakar. Human life itself is very rare, but being born in India is much, much more rare. The great personalities, Acharyas say, it is one step before going to Vaikunta, being born in India. Oh, really? Yes. You know that ladder and snake game? Huh? Right. You're almost there, but only a big snake is there. If you cross that big snake, you will actually go to that top, Vaikunta. Uh, but you're almost there. On the top rung, you're there. That is what is being born in India as a human being. So, if you use that opportunity, make your life perfect and help others in making their life perfect. That is what is the opulence that is given to us. So, if we don't use that opulence, then we become kripanas, misers. But if we use that opulence, then we become brahmana. Brahmana and then Vaishnava. Who is a Brahmana or Vaishnava? One who is broad minded. They are called Mahatmas also. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakrutim ashritaha. Broad minded persons are those who take shelter of God's energy, internal energy. That is, Krishna's internal energy is Srimati Radharani or Lakshmi Devi or Sita Devi. That is why when we chant Hare Krishna, we are chanting not only just Krishna's name, but also Krishna's energy. Hare Krishna, O Krishna and Radha. So, broad minded persons are those who take shelter of Lord's energy. Broad minded persons are those who lead a life which is not selfish in nature. A selfless life they lead. Selfless means what? You don't think of your benefit, you think of others' benefit. That is what is selflessness. But a city mentality means everybody wants to act selfishly. Even if anybody is there, how others can be useful to me. That is the mentality. There is no sharing and caring, rather, there is exploitation. And everyone wants to come to cities. They leave the village life. Village life is somewhat selfless, more or less, in those days before the TV has taken over. But now TV has made everyone equal, equally selfish, uh, isn't it? But those days, the very way they call each other is with a relationship. And when you have a relationship, obviously you do some service to them. Akka or Nana or Pinni or uncle or this or that. In that way, they call each other and then they share their whatever that they have and they share the problems, look for solutions, and all that will happen in a very natural sort of manner. Nobody puts a board, I am a problem solver and for every problem this much money I will charge. Here, psychiatrists, so many people they are, for every time that you meet them, they squeeze a lot of money from you. And they have always, there are so many people in their clinics. People are filled with all these mental problems. So that is why a lot of people make a lot of money. All that they have to say is some common sense. That's all. They say common sense is most uncommon these days. Common sense is most uncommon. We have become so crazy minded because you indulge in sense gratification. What happens? Mind becomes crazy. Matta pramatta kurute vikarma yadindriya priti aprunoti. That it pushes you to do vikarma. Vikarma means forbidden acts also we do. What is not proper, proposed by the scripture, those activities also we do. When we are too much uh, induced in sense gratification. So the point here is that if one led the whole life with sense gratification, there's nothing to share to someone. to the next generation. Like if old people, if they are not useful to the next generation, that means their life is waste. God has created, there is a gradation of, different people going through different states. Kaumara, Yavana, Jara, all these different stages are there. And one who is in a higher stage is supposed to help those who are in a lower stage. A Grahastha should help Brahmachari, or a Vanaprastha should help Grahastha, or a Sannyasi should help all the other three classes. How to prepare for the next stage, next stage. And when the old people speak to us, what do they speak? Generally, what do the old people speak to us? बेटा बहुत टाइम है, अभी क्यों इतना डिवोशन में जा रहे हो, है ना? Is that what they speak, isn't it? इसको इतना टाइम आ गया फिर भी वो डिवोशन में नहीं है. He is already old. At least he should have some common sense. If I am saying this, at least I should be in some God consciousness. Then I have adhikar to say. When you come to my age, you become. But what are you doing? You are freaking out. So you are telling that man, even if you come to my age, you will still freak out. That is what you are saying. By your, at least your action shows that. So one should not waste time. When you actually become old, it is said that the older people should teach younger people how to face death. Samupeta mrutyam, it is said. Samupeta mrutyam means how to face death. This is what you should teach younger people. And if you talk about mrityu, people will say, hey, you are talking very inauspicious activity. What inauspicious? Death is inevitable. Every day you are dying, by the way. According to medical science, if you see, they say that cells in our body are constantly dying, and the new cells are coming. They have some calculation, I'm not sure. People who are in the medical field, they know that, your body is completely new in a few years or in a year or so, I don't know exactly, but it is regularly getting transformed. Older cells are dying, new cells are coming. But age is growing, but what about our intelligence? Nowadays, I'm seeing the younger generation people, even though they are 25, 26, 28, they still act like a 16-year-old boy. They're always over-dependent. Because either the parents or the society are too possessive of them, and then they don't let them do, normal activities also. When I was a child, even at the age of, 10, I was sent to the marketplace to purchase this, purchase that, all of that. I know all these things at the age of 10. Or even at the age of 15, I'm sent to some other place to pick up someone and come, that kind of confidence was there. And because we grew in that kind of an atmosphere, we were not over dependent on our parents or relatives. It's not that they could not do what we were doing. They wanted to teach us what is to be done. So naturally, that kind of responsibility taking has come. I joined at the age of 23. In this moment, I became a temple president at the age of 26. 26, you cannot even imagine. Many of you are over 26. Isn't it? Managing a temple means managing a big kingdom, managing hundreds of minds, and pacifying them, engaging them properly, and all that. And then I got married at the age of 27 and have the first child at the age of 29. I'm not just saying about my own example. There are hundreds of examples. But I'm seeing today, 29, 30-year-old child, child I'm saying. Why? Because they are very childish. They're very childish. What is a child? Child does not take responsibility. Always wanting to be dependent on others. Too much over dependent on others. I'm not saying we should not be dependent. We should be dependent as much as it is needed, not over dependent. So what responsibility we are taking? It is not your fault. Whose fault it is? Those who have trained us, those who have pampered us. Today children are pampered so much pampered. They are given whatever they want. Especially that one mobile phone, if you give, for the lifetime he is doomed, isn't it? You don't have to touch that person anymore. Keep recharging the mobile phone, that's all. That's all that you have to do. So this is what maturity you will get. Everything is only in the screen. There's no actual experience. Now everything you are learning, not by obedience to a superior. You are learning everything by typing in Google. This is a very bad way of learning. You will never learn anything without obedience. You have to go to a real person, be obedient, ask questions, serve that person. You will get the capacity to actually do it by yourself. And that is completely taken away. So that is why none of us are expert. We are expert in searching, that's all. Isn't it? We are only expert in searching. We are not actually expert in doing things because we have not learned it properly. So, the elders are supposed to train their dependents, their children or grandchildren in understanding what is human life meant for, what is the potency of human life, and where you can go using this human form of life. You can actually go back to Krishna. In this one life itself, one has the potential to go back to Krishna. So that is why our great acharyas, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave this simple method. Antyakale cha mameva, as Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, Antyakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yaprayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshaya. You simply at the end of life, in the sense when you are leaving the body, if you can somehow or the other, if you remember Krishna, chant Krishna's name, you will actually go back home, back to Godhead. And all our effort must be put in this direction. How to remember Krishna at the time of death. And the practice is right from age of 5. Kaumaret, Acharet, Prajna, Dharman, Bhagavatani. We don't have to teach so many skills. What is the use of so many skills which you are anyway going to lose? Isn't it? You become a very skillful man, but how long that skill will be there with us? But this skill will always be there with us. If somebody can teach us the skill of remembering Krishna, seeing everything in connection with Krishna, nirbande, Krishna sambande, yuktam vairagyam uchyate. This is the greatest benediction that one can give us. So our elders or our superiors are supposed to give this to us. Then you will respect them. Even though they may not give you money, they may not give you property, they may not give you good name and fame in the society, but if this one thing they give, you will become eternally grateful to such people. But all our elders, they are interested to hand over properties. Isn't it? A lot of money, properties. But they have not taught you how to use it properly. What is the use of giving so much money and property to an unqualified man, which they will simply waste it in no time? So the greatest gift that our elders can give us is actually character, integrity, values. This is the greatest gift that they can give us. But for giving these things, they have to spend time with us. They have to explain various life situations, how to be ready for such life reversals, how to, from a unripe state to a ripened state, how you can come to these things. They should be able to teach us. But if they themselves are unripened, they are never ripened. At least if it is an unripened stage, you can make it ripened by somehow or the other. But if it is ripened, fructified stage is already over, it is good for nothing. It is neither unripened or it is a ripened thing. So most of the old people are like that. Most of the old people are like that. Na ghar ka, na ghat ka jaisa. They have no energy to do anything. They have no realization to share. So what will you do with such thing? Throw it in the corner. And that is what happened with Puranjana. So it's a warning to all of us. Very quickly, everybody gets older. Don't think that, no, I will remain young forever. Just time passes just like that, and you become older. If somebody calls you brother, you are already become older. You understand? If you have one dependent, that means you have already become older. And every one of us have dependents. So better to become mature. And maturity is to develop Krishna consciousness. Maturity is not the ability to manipulate things. That is not what is maturity. It is like, manipulation means you are in debt somewhere and you actually pay off the debt by taking debt from another person. And that fellow will demand. So you take another debt from another fellow and then you. So this is called manipulation. And our problem solving is this type only. All your management techniques are temporarily cheat someone. They actually define management is the art of cheating others without their knowledge. This is the management definition. Art of cheating others without their knowledge. This kind of manipulation will not work. In the end, when you become older, you become very frustrated. But the devotees they are filled with a lot of realization. They will not become frustrated. They are always ready to share with another person. Prabhupada, at the age of 70, he embarked on a journey to the United States in a cargo ship, which nobody can even imagine, conceive something like that. 70 years, somebody can go out of Vrindavan. 70 years, people come to Vrindavan. But this man is going out of Vrindavan. Out of Vrindavan so that millions of people like us can get Krishna. That is actually called maturity. That is a great confidence that he has on Krishna. That is great bravery, act of bravery. So, why? Because he has so much opulence in him. He wanted to share with others. When he went to America, the American people asked Prabhupada, Swamiji, many Indians come and they make a lot of money and go away. So, at this age, how much money you want to make? Why did you come? Because they have experience of different yogis coming and setting up yogi studios and then collecting a lot of money and all that. So Prabhupada said, I have not come here to take anything from you. I have come here to give you something. Prabhupada said. So who is an older person? A person who can give. It has nothing to do with age. If you have ability to give something substantial, you should be able to give. Not that, you give some empty words. You make empty promises. Tomorrow you come and meet me at this time and you will not be there only. So these days we are very expert in, making empty promises. No, you should stand on your word. You should deliver what you speak. Then you are a person of integrity. Then you are a person of value. Otherwise, what is the value of such person? All failed promises. So it is said Puranjana is become a very useless person. So much so that his sons, grandsons, his wife also neglected him. Generally, after living together for such a long time, generally wife is very faithful. Those days, nowadays, आरंभ से ही सब कुछ गड़बड़ है. But those days, and when you live together, serve each other, there is a bondage. So even she is neglectful of him now. She is very cold and indifferent to Puranjana. Don't think that it happens to, uh, only few people. Practically, it happens to everyone. It happened with Prabhupada also. Prabhupada, when he was very much busy in preaching Krishna consciousness, his wife did not support so much. She did not like Prabhupada giving all his time for preaching Krishna consciousness. She wanted that he set up nice business and then earn a lot of money and then pump that money into the family. That is what she expected. That did not happen. Prabhupada tried his best to make up, set up businesses, but it did not happen. So what Prabhupada was doing, on and off, he was leaving the house, going and preaching and coming back. At one instance, when he came back from a preaching tour, uh, he asked, "Is there any food available?" Then what happened? The son went to the nearby uh, hotel and brought some food. Prabhupada did not like it. Prabhupada thought that his wife would cook and then offer to Krishna and then prasadam would be served. But that did not happen. So that was a very great disappointment. So next day, Prabhupada was searching for his Bhagavatam, which he was, his whole life is about Bhagavatam. Every day he would read Bhagavatam and all that. So Prabhupada was searching for Bhagavatam because that was not there in the shelf. So he called his wife and said, "Did you see my Bhagavatam?" Uh, then the reply came that I sold this Bhagavatam book for some tea biscuits because she is very much addicted to drinking tea every day. So she sold Bhagavatam and then got some tea biscuits. And Prabhupada's heart broke. From her point of view, this Bhagavatam is not bringing any money. So it's better to give that Bhagavatam and then get some tea biscuits. When you are not interested in something that is given to you, like olden days, I don't know whether it happens now or not. Some of these Christian people, they come and give that black bound Bible everywhere. So many copies came to our house. We didn't know what to do with it. So we would give those books to a grocery fellow who will make some funnel out of it and do some. So that is, and then they would give us some money. They would give us some money. So when you don't know the value of it, what you do? You just give it to someone who will use it in a different way. So she thought that this Bhagavatam is not bringing any money. My husband is a Bhagavata. He's speaking Bhagavatam, but what is the use? He is not maintaining the family. So she sold it and then got some few biscuits, tea biscuits. So Prabhupada was heartbroken with that act of his wife. And then she was sitting there. Prabhupada finally gave one ultimatum to her. In the sense, he said, "You choose tea or me." This was his last word to his wife. "You choose tea or me." She didn't say anything, but she picked up the teacup from the teapot and then sipped it. She gave her answer. That was his last day in his home. He left. So why are we discussing this? If the husband is not productive, he is not supplying money for your sense gratification, then the wife becomes indifferent and very cold towards the husband. Even it can happen to a great personality like Prabhupada, who is very far self-realized. What to speak of people, very ordinary people like us? Understand this. So whether we wanted to lead such a life, so Shastra says, don't live in your house after 50 because you will be neglected. So vanaprastha is there. Vanaprastha stage means you go out and actively participate in. There is his father. You should take the child. So one should leave the house in a very respectful manner. One should not give a feeling to the children that I am now dependent, old and invalid, beta. You are my investment, beta. You give a list of things that you have done for that beta. This much I have spent for your engineering, this much I have spent for your school and college. Pura interest ke sath wapas do. If this is, then you are already a failure in your life. If you have such a conversation with your children, you're already a failure. You should always be in a position to give and give and give and give. Even at the last breath also you should be able to give. That is a very valuable life. But that happens when you are a person of substance, when you have gained so many spiritual realizations you can share. Otherwise our life is useless. So many things can be discussed, but these are some things, few things. Anyone has any question, comment?
Thank you, Puji. Thank you, Puji, for wonderful class. You have shared many wonderful points, especially the life have to be lived. You give the example of Puranjana and then Srila Prabhupada example that touched my heart. So my question is this, Puji. Puji, as we know that nowadays technology is changing so much and skills are also required. The person who is in a like 50 1950, the people from very old age, if they did not change himself, automatically people will start rejecting him. I see in my family also, my grandparents and those things are, they were very simple person, but they did not change according to the technology or according to the societies.
So they are
Then
not updated.
yeah, they're not updated. That's the reason they
They are rejected.
automatically will be rejected from the family. Even they support so much also. So my question is this, Poji. So nowadays technology and people are so advanced. Whatever you have 50 years before, nowadays totally changed. And the people who did not adopt new skills, so either they have lost the opportunity. Then their children are also disturbed because they did not support the children, and they did not even they have a good knowledge of the scripture, or they lead a life with a good respect, but still because they don't have money or they don't have some power or authority, automatically their children will leave them, or they stay them, or also malab, they keep the family there and they live some other place. Children will live some other place. In that region, how to understand this point, that without earning money, just only trust on the Lord or trust on the scripture, live the life. We see in the case of the Prabhupada also, that he lived the life very good in a very scriptural way, but still his
Who
family is
who
not supporting.
who?
Prabhupada life also, just you give the example that in Prabhupada life also, Prabhupada have lived the life
Who
very
is that?
scripturally.
Prabhupada.
He also lived the life scripturally, but even his family is not supporting.
But he had a big family, international family, no? Prabhupada had earned international family. His own family might have not recognized the greatness of Prabhupada. Of course, they have recognized, but he has earned an international family. Now he is being worshipped in every temple. He is a great success story. He is. So the point is that you live for Krishna, you don't live for others. And when you live for Krishna, you have so much to share with others. Technologically, you might have not been updated with the younger generation. That doesn't mean they're not useful to you. Sometimes we see fathers or mothers give the phone to the child and then ask them, how to do this, how to do that. Small fellows will do, but when they have a problem, where they will run to? Mobile phone will not help. They will run to their father and mother, isn't it? So don't think that you have to be upgraded to the present generation of fastness, present modern, all the modern thinking. This is not up. Life is actually very very pure in the olden days, and if you have pure values, they do not have to be updated. It is not Indian constitution or any constitution which has to be updated every time. Bhagavad Gita, what is the updated version of Bhagavad Gita? You get any updated version of Bhagavad Gita? You get the same old Bhagavad Gita which is 5,000 years old back, same slokas, not even one small change is there. So these solid values do not have to be updated. What is updated is useless. Only technology is updated. That means it is only useless things only have to be updated. No? If you are trying to make something work perfectly, that means it is not perfect. So I understand the spirit of your question. You have to be updated in how to deal with these people. Now, if you become a very, very, strict, didactic kind of a personality, you will not be able to deal with these fellows. You have to show carrot also. You have to show stick also. When, how much you have to show, that is your expertise. In that you have to be updated. Knowing their background. Srila Prabhupada is a great updated preacher, I would say. Why? Because his books are even relevant even now today. Young fellows who are crack-minded fellows also will be attracted to Srila Prabhupada books. Yes or no? Huh? They are so relevant. He has written for modern generation. So he is an updated preacher. So that expertise we must have. Not that you have to be updated like them. You should know what is their background. Some of these, many of you are digital people, right? After 2000, anyone is born. They only know screens. They don't know what is a book. We have read only with books, but only you have read with e-books. So you should know their consciousness, and then accordingly one should preach. Money earning and all is not a big deal. Even if they earn money and give a lot of money, you think because they give a lot of money, the children are taking care of the parents? They give money in return. They will keep one ayah. They will not serve them. They'll keep hire an ayah and keep them in their old days. That's what you get. They don't even come when the parents die. Maybe they may come, but sometimes in the COVID time, many people did not come only. This is what we have earned. And it is going to happen much more in the next generation. When you are going to become parents and grandparents, terrible things are going to happen. At least some culture is left, some value system is still left now. Terrible things are going to come in future. So prepare yourself. This is called updation. Prepare for those things. Prepare for those things. How to deal with these fellows? They are going to be more and more ungrateful. They are very opportunistic. They take whatever they want and then they just reject you and then go away. You teach fundamental values. That is why from the beginning one should teach gratefulness, gratitude, humility. These things have to be taught. They are ever fresh qualities. If you teach these qualities, a person's foundation is very strong. If these qualities are not there, everything is waste, useless. Yes, who else raised your hand? You raise the hand, next I will come to you. You raise the hand before you. I will come back to you.
Prabhuji, you highlighted God consciousness, God realization and self-realization. You highlighted God realization and self-realization. Could you please throw some light on that?
God realization, self-realization.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Self-realization is eye opened in a dark room. I'm repeating. Your eyes are opened in a dark room is called self-realization. Still you can't see yourself and anything else. God realization means light is on, eyes are open. You'll be able to see yourself and everyone else. You understand what it is? You didn't get it. When you see God, you see everything else properly. When there is a light in the room, you will be able to see everything properly, isn't it?
Yes.
When there is a light in the room. When there is a darkness in the room,
Nothing.
even if your eyes are open, still you won't be able to see anything. So, so-called self-realized people of this age, their eyes are open in a darkened room. Mayavadis, Brahmavadis, they are not actually fully realized because they have not realized God fully. So, Prabhupada taught us Krishna realized person, how to become a Krishna realized person. Yasmin tushte jagat tushtaha, yasmin vijnate sarvamevam vijnatam bhavanti. By knowing whom you know everything, that is to be known, and that is Krishna. So that is called God realization. Self realization means, I am not this body, I am a spirit soul, I am struggling in this body, and you speak so many things, realize so many things about the body, but you don't know who is the source of you. Krishna is source of mine. I am produced by Krishna. That realization is not there. Then God realization is not there.
Understood.
Now you understood?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Is that clear?
Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Last question for today.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, what difference does it create when one learns something by himself and by obedience to the seniors? What difference it creates when one is learning by himself? Difference.
What difference it makes when somebody learns something on his own or he learns something by being obedient to the superiors.
What difference? Shall I tell you the difference? Huh? You want a mango, ripened mango, and you don't want to depend on others. All right? If you depend on others, it's easy, Go to a mango wala and say, sir, I want to eat one mango. Can you please give me? What will you do? He'll give you the mango. Because seeing your humility, he will give you one mango. But you thought, I don't need anybody's help. What will I do? Somebody has already eaten a mango and then he has thrown the seed in the gutter. Now you take that seed in the gutter, wash it, all right? And then, dig the hole in the earth, put that, and then keep on pouring water. Many years passed, and the mango seed has become a mango tree. And then you wait for the season, summer season, and there is a ripened mango, and you try to climb, and then you fell down and broke your leg. Which is better, you think? You may have a mango in your hand, that too also broken mango, with a broken leg and broken mango in hand. Is that better? Going to someone and beg and ask, which is better? That much difference is there between learning from someone and trying to learn by own self. That much difference is there. So anything valuable cannot be learned by oneself. This is 100% guaranteed. Pakka. Anything valuable cannot be learned by own. You have to go to a person who is realized. That is why Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita 4th chapter, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshana. Till that point of fourth, this is the 34th sloka in the 4th chapter. Till that point, Krishna was telling how to learn many things, how to gain knowledge through various ways. And in the conclusion, he says this. So we must understand anything valuable cannot be learned by one's own efforts. That is not perfect learning. And it is very difficult to conceive, no? Because we are all updated versions of modern technology. In modern world, your educational system is how you don't need a teacher. That's the whole educational system, isn't it? Am I right or wrong? This is the educational system that we have. That is why we are so useless, we have become. It's a cultural shock for us. Bhagavatam is a cultural shock for us. Bhagavad Gita is a cultural shock for us. Because Bhagavad Gita says, you approach a bona fide spiritual master. For everything, Prabhupada says, approach a bona fide spiritual master. And then surrender to him. Upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. So this is a fact, you will realize it. If you don't trust the scriptures or acharyas, you will realize, they say no, hard way of realizing, easy way of realizing. If you don't learn, you know, by submission, you will learn it by hard way. I'll close that with one story. A person went to Singapore and he didn't know that there is a lot of strict, discipline in Singapore. If you actually, break the traffic rules, they will charge you $500. They give options. Either you have to pay $500 or drink 5 kilos of ghee or get 50 whips. One of this you can choose. This fellow is a miser. For him, the option of paying $500 doesn't exist only. And then he was very skinny and then he did not eat much from his childhood. All dry chapatis only he ate. So he thought that, maybe 5 kilo ghee is a good option. So he started drinking. Kilo 1 gone inside, kilo 2 gone inside. As the third kilo he is drinking, now it started coming outside. Then he said, Mahaprabhu, I cannot take this. So this option is gone. Already one option is kept outside. What is that? $500. So the only option that is left is whip beatings, 50 whip beatings. So he thought that I will tolerate this. 1, 2, 3, 4. By the time he came to 25, he's gone. Already his whole body has become, bruised. And he said, I cannot take one more whip. I will die. So out of 3 options, 2 options are gone. What is the option left? $500. He has to pay. Now, the point is, had he paid $500 before, he would have avoided all of this, isn't it? This is the difference between learning self and learning by intelligence of others. If somebody suggests you, please pay $500, if you had paid, you would have avoided all of this discomfort. That is the difference. And it'll take time for you to sink this idea. It'll take time. But if you sit down, peaceful, be peaceful. It'll take time for you to understand this. But if you understand quickly, you become better. I'm making this statement once again. Anything valuable cannot be learnt by one's own self. Anything valuable. If you learned it by own self, consider that it is not valuable. Take it for granted. If you don't realize, you will realize later. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.